Have you been to the grocery store lately and you couldn't buy toilet paper, cleaning supplies, or hand sanitizer, let alone the food? Well, I'm going to talk to you about coronavirus craziness. This is Dr. Greg Cason, and this is Off the Couch. We're all aware of the global pandemic that's affected over 100 countries, which is the coronavirus, and it's causing significant changes on a daily basis for us here in the United States and people around the world. But there have been some changes that have been a little bit odd, and that's what people are doing in the grocery stores. It's been like the Wild West out there. When I've gone to the grocery store, all the aisles were empty. People were just running around trying to get whatever they could, and I just tried to fill my cart with whatever I could, just trying to get out of the store as fast as I could. But maybe all of us is being affected by this thing, and things have gotten a little bit wild. Not only are shoppers sometimes getting into fistfights with each other, but there's even a coffee shop in Australia that's accepting toilet paper as cash, or as to buy things. And there were even some knife-wielding men who went to rob a store of 600 rolls of toilet paper. When we perceive a threat, we often have the emotion of fear. And fear is one of the most powerful emotions that any human being can have. Fear is activated by things like watching the news or talking to your friends, or even that feeling in the streets. But when fear is activated, that turns on your fight or flight system, and then you start to go at that point. Then you start to bypass reasoning in your head, and your rational mind is put to rest. So when we walk into a grocery store to buy toilet paper or cleaning supplies or that last bit of food, there are really three different responses we're walking in with. One is sort of our normal response. That's our rational thinking, where we buy groceries for the amount of time that we need it. If someone's thinking rationally during the upcoming crisis here, they're probably going to buy for the 2-week period that we possibly might be quarantined, maybe a little more. So they go in to buy about that amount of food. They buy just what they need. If someone has more fear-based thinking, that's the more visceral gut reaction. That's the better safe than sorry type of mentality. That person's going to go and buy maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months worth of supplies. They're going to buy as much as they can and clean off the shelves. And then there's the third type of thinking, and that's the herd mentality. That's like a herd of elephants or buffalo. When you're moving in the herd, you suspend your own personal judgment and just do what everyone else is doing. And if other people are panic buying, you're going to be panic buying too. It's much like you see at Christmas time when people are trying to get those last minute sales and they're tearing things off of the shelves. So why do people go into this panic buying behavior that can even result in hoarding? Well, that's because they fear scarcity, and they have this strong sense of urgency that they have to do it now or things aren't going to be there. But ultimately, hoarding or gathering lots of items, buying too much toilet paper, having extra cleaning supplies, getting all the antiseptic wipes and hand sanitizer that you can and as much food as you can, all of that going to help people feel safe. Hoarding is because it's based on fear to help people feel safe and secure. But humans aren't the only ones that hoard. Actually, a lot of animals do that. Birds do it, squirrels do it, and even humans who are raised in the wild do it. They actually will hoard food and water. So it makes sense that when we get very fearful, we reduce down to our primitive actions and our fear reaction and tend to hoard. But there are some other bad problems that have arisen because of the coronavirus craziness that's going on out there. One is sneeze shaming. There was actually a plane that was forced to land in Denver that was on its way to New Jersey because one of the passengers had an allergic attack and started sneezing. Other passengers feared that person had the coronavirus, and they became fearful and forced the plane to land. But maybe the worst problem of all that's come up of the coronavirus craziness is coronavirus-related xenophobia. Xenophobia is really fear of foreigners or fear of the other. That's when we have some kind of negative reaction to somebody who's very unfamiliar to us because they're from a different place. It's thought to be this is from our behavioral immune system. The behavioral immune system is something that kicks in when our biological immune system can't. It's sort of that thing where we see something that's very disgusting, maybe we might see a dirty hand railing, and we know not to put our hand on it. So it causes us to keep our hand off the hand railing. That will prevent infection. That behavioral immune system kicks in and helps us to stay away from problems. But when we see people that we associate with illness, we also want to stay away from them. I grew up during the AIDS crisis, and that was something that actually was very much a thing, that when people would see gay people or identify gay people or people they associated with the disease in any sort of way, they would have a negative response and want to stay far away from them. And now we're seeing that this virus, which emanated in Wuhan, China, it's associated with people of Asian descent. And that association has caused people of Asian descent now to feel discrimination, hatred. They've gotten fear responses, and even sometimes hate crimes as a result. So all the craziness in this thing is caused from fear and panic, which is caused by seeing that there's an imminent threat, a terrible threat, and that you can't handle that threat. Those two things together make one just collapse and fall apart and then panic. The other option, or to go the other side of the fence, there are those people who are not panicking. And those people are the bury their head in the sand people. Those people are the I don't care, it's not a big deal, it won't happen to me, or if it does, it won't be a big deal, and I don't care if I pass it to other people. Those are the people who don't give up their lives as they are, who don't prepare to be quarantined, and actually may have some bigger problems down the line. Those people just bury their head in the sand and don't see a threat at all, so it doesn't matter if they can handle it or not, because they just don't see one. Really, a better thing to do is to see that there is a very realistic threat that's happening here in the United States and around the world, that it's happening for us, but that we can handle it. Even though our administration and authorities have been slow to respond, and it's unfortunate, they are now starting to rally and get things together. Our local governments and states are actually getting plans together, and it's up to us as a community to really listen to them and band together and really do this as a community to help each other through. So what are the things that you can do? Well, first of all, listen to credible news sources. Stay away from the conspiracy theories and anyone who labels something fake news. That's probably not a place you want to be getting your news. Go to the scientists, read the real stuff, and listen to the scientific voices that are out there. Number two is to follow the guidelines of the health authorities. The Centers for Disease Control, in most instances, has been very good about helping us with what to do. Listen to their guidelines. If you don't like what they're saying because they have stumbled recently on this crisis, you can go to the World Health Organization, or that's WHO, or you can also follow other guidelines in your state and local cities or governments. Also, number three is to buy a 2-week supply of groceries and other things like cleaning supplies, whatever you need, but just 2 weeks. There's a good chance we all may have to spend 2 weeks indoors, so at least have those 2 weeks of things to do. And number four, have a plan to fend off the boredom, because if you are inside, it might be good if you have something to do. We'll probably all be watching television, Netflix, different things, but maybe think of some more creative things to do at home that might help you. And number five is to seek support from those around you. You know, we're all in this together, and we can all get through it together. This doesn't have to be a trauma for those of us, but for some people it might be, but it's going to be mitigated or helped by just holding hands together and being together. Even if we can't be together personally, we can be together for each other in spirit, and we can all pull through this. I'm Dr. Greg Cason, and this is Off the Couch.